Hey everybody, this is Blue, and I was wanting to talk about what is Rollmaster. Rollmaster is a universal gaming system, which means that it can cover any genre. The nice thing about Rollmaster is that they have some genres already made for it. Iron Crown Enterprises, which is the company that created Rollmaster system, they have the Space Master system, which is your future, space travel, which was fun. Cyberspace, I never played that one too much. That is a near future dystopia where people were getting cybernetic implants and they were being bionic and corrupt. Then there was Shadow World. This was their own fantasy world that they created, and I have some of those books, and I do use them as references and sometimes put parts of that into previous gaming worlds. There was MERP, Middle Earth Role Playing. If you wanted to fight a Balrog in the halls of Moria, you could have done it. They actually had a Moria module for MERP, Middle Earth Role Playing. This was licensed through Tolkien, and so it was very realistic. They had modules covering all the way from the northern wastes all the way down to the Court of Ardor. And if you know what the Court of Ardor was, awesome. But they had the stats for Morgoth, Melkor, the Balrogs, dragons. They had it all, and it was highly detailed, so you could role play anywhere in Middle Earth. They had the maps and the modules. It was just plain fun to play. The difference, there's one major difference between MERP and Rollmaster. MERP was kind of the basic Dungeons and Dragons. It was the more kid-friendly version, where Rollmaster could get a little bit more gritty, I guess would be the term. Because Rollmaster was like your AD&D and MERP was your D&D. Rollmaster was developed in the 80s, and to play it you had to have 4 core books. The first one, it goes by different names because there you have made multiple versions, multiple editions of the game. They had the character law book, which was nice. It was their first version on how to create your characters, the dynamics of the game, the rules of the games, and how to create your own world, which was nice. The edition I got in my hand is called Game Master Law. And again, this is your Game Master Guidelines. It tells you also, same thing, the rules of the game, how to handle events during the game, how to be a good game master, character creation, and creating your own world, your own races. It is awesome. They talk about weather creation, how to make sensible maps, culture creations, and lots of charts. I want to say this. Rollmaster isn't for everybody. If you are a Matt Mercer fan, you're probably not going to like Rollmaster that much. You really have to love numbers and looking at charts to play Rollmaster, because it is a rule-heavy game. If you wanted to do an action, there's generally a chart where you roll the dice for, and you see if you can succeed. So you got to have those lucky dice if you want to play this game and have some luck. The next book that you're going to need is Arms Law. I love Arms Law. Rollmaster combat can be a little long. For those of you that played 4th edition D&D, it's not that bad, but there are a lot of rules involved. And not all this check balance and all of that. I mean, Yes, there are modifiers in combat, but not everything that counteracts each other. They have a lot of different weapons in here. You know, you got your club, composite bow, falchions, scimitars, crossbows, javelins, lances, longbows, polearms, quarterstaffs, warhammers. They have a lot of nice weapons, and in other books they add to it. So it is just freaking awesome. And then they even have the attack tables for martial arts and animals in here. So I mean, if there's a way for you to get injured, it's in here. Excluding magic, and I'll get to that part in a little bit. What I loved the most about Rollmaster combat was the critical strike tables. If you did a good amount of damage, you can get a critical. In Rollmaster, it's A through E, E being awesome, you know. And with them, they're percentage dice or 2d10, and you roll two numbers that you want to get is either 66 or 100. And 66 because ICE was created in Charlottesville, Virginia. And so it's Bible Belt, so that's a little theme in there. So we're going to do the E crush. If you roll 66, it says, crush what was once a foe's head. If foe has a helm, it is destroyed also. You are spackled with blood. Plus 15 hits. That's massively brutal, isn't it? And let's do the E100. Blow turns hip to dust. Foe falls down. Attempts to stand, falls again, and dies in 6 rounds. Plus 35 hits. Stun for 2, down for 6. And at negative 30%. You know, there's some brutality there, and that's why this is more of an adult game. And it always is cool, you know, you're fighting somebody and then you get to hear some extra details. Because you can break your foe's arm in there, and you can't fight with a two-handed sword if you got a broken arm, right? So that adds to the details. It makes it for a little bit more realism, which is what I love about Rollmaster. There is, because of the extra details, there's a lot more realism in the game, in my opinion. Next book you need is Spell Law. I love Spell Law. This is one of the reasons why I like Rollmaster so much, because of the flexibility. D&D, you have a spell to do for this, you know, with your professions. With Rollmaster, in their base rules, each magical profession gets 6 spell lists. And so they learn their spell lists, and so you can have a lot more variety in the spells that you use. In this, there is Assassination Mastery. And let's go to the level 7 spell. Conceal Object 2 as Concealed Object 1, except it will affect the object up to sword size. So this spell lets you conceal a weapon. You can put like a dagger and nobody can see it. You can hide a sword and it moves up. One thing that I want to say also on this is Rollmaster being a D100, you take everything that Rollmaster says and you divide it by 5. So if something gives you a plus 50 modifier in Rollmaster, that's a plus 10 in D&D, basically. But this book right here, you can see it's nice and thick. There's over 2,000 spells, and there are supplements with more spells, more professions. So there is just so much you can do with Rollmaster compared to D&D. I think D&D, you know, they telling you, you know, you can learn these couple spells and that's it. Whereas Rollmaster, it's like, here, learn all these, have fun with it. The last book you need, in my opinion, to play Rollmaster is Creatures and Monsters. This is their monster manual. There are, I don't think they say how many monsters are in here, but this book is over 300 pages and full of multiple monsters per page. So there's probably easy 2,000 different monsters in here, ranging from your everyday animals to composite monsters, mythological creatures, giants, trolls, dragons, unicorns. If you can think about it, it's in here. They talk about demons, werewolves, dangerous plants, which I thought was always cool. They talk about different races. They don't just have, your Fantasy 5, your elves, dwarves, halflings, orcs, and trolls. They have so many more. They have creatures from other dimensions, dinosaurs, of course, titans, troglodytes. They have like 6 different trolls. They have just all these different creatures that you can do to add so much detail to your game. And then there is, this is why it's called Chartmaster sometimes. Oh yeah, encounter charts, random encounters. There is like 30 or 40 different charts back here. And so, based upon power level and location, so you can have something that's related to your environment and encounter it. And it's just a well-built system. And that's one of the reasons why I love Rollmaster so much. A next book, this is also, you should have as many books as you can afford, of course. Another book that they have is School of Hard Knocks. This is their skill book. Again, you can see how thick it is. This just talks about all the different skills in Rollmaster. If I remember right, there's over 300 skills that your characters can develop. And I love it because it allows your character to develop abilities, so they kind of have limitations so that it can be a challenge to do things. Rollmaster is more of a skill rule gaming. It's not as much free, you can talk yourself out of things. You have to go, well, I am going to try to do this, and where they're going to determine what your modifiers are, and then you roll and find out if you succeed, and there's charts for basically every darn skill there. And I think this is important because it adds some realism, because your characters also have to develop some mundane skills. You could have a ranger out there who can capture any type of animal he wants to because he's just that damn good, but he's starving because he couldn't cook worth a damn. You could have it, where he gets the animal, he butchers it, he prepares it, but he can't cook. He burns it, or it's raw, and either way it's unedible. And so then you have to figure out, okay, my ranger hasn't eaten a good meal in 3 days. He's not weak. He's going to die if he encounters everything because he's at like -40 for the week. And so that just adds so much realism to Rollmaster. Now, there are a lot of supplements in there, and they have books just for casting magic. This is Arcane Companion. There are multiple realms of magic, because you have your essence, mentalism, channeling, arcane. They got prosaic. There are different ways to do magic. I myself, because of my homebrew, and I don't like having all these realms, I say it's all arcane. It makes it a lot easier, and you get a lot more flexibility. But there are so many other modules here. Another favorite book of mine is 10 Million Ways to Die. Okay, Yeah, I have arms law. Well, this is a supplement to go with it. And so it talks about other weapons. It actually has modern weapons, sci-fi weapons, makes some pop culture references to Star Trek, Star Wars, because, if you're talking about lasers, well, what about the Star Trek hand phaser, okay? Or Star Wars blaster? The weapons that, like I'm just looking at, Babylon 5, they got references to. Yeah, I think that's pretty darn cool. Some of the other books that they have here, this is why I like second edition so much, is because of these Rollmaster companions. They had 1 through 7. In each one of the companions, they have new professions. People sent in concepts from their homebrews to Iron Crown, and they published the good ones into these books. So most of these books have at least 3 new professions to use. There's a whole bunch of skill options, themes, new spell lists. It's pretty awesome. This is RMC number 7, and there is a whole section here about how to use the tarot deck into your game. One of the professions is actually called a tarot mage, and that was one of my favorite characters. I had one that I enjoyed a great deal. And so they also tell you how long it takes to build things like magical weapons, castles, and all that. They have supplements on castles and ruins, so you can build a castle, and then you can learn on what it takes from siege artillery to take down and breach the castle. There's just so many possibilities with Rollmaster, the flexibility about it, that I think makes it an excellent game for people that can handle a few numbers and charts and spend the time to learn it. So that is my little review on what Rollmaster is. It's a great game if you got the time and you got the paper. So everybody, please take care. Be at peace.